Have you ever thought about energy and how it impacts business, leadership, and the way that you interact with people? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome to Women Leaders on the Move, a Her C-Suite Radio podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Benamou, and every week I learn right along with you and have the amazing opportunity to speak with leaders who are sharing their insights to help you in the portfolio career and wherever you are going and beyond. I am also the founder of Her C-Suite, a portfolio career network where we are focused on women in the second half of our careers, landing board roles and building businesses and defining what's next. I hope you will check it all out at hercsuite.com. Today's guest is so fun. It was an in-person, impromptu interview with my friend, Jackie Joy. Jackie is Chief Strategy Officer, Head of Executive Mentoring and Development at The Perfect Plan Consulting. I first met Jackie a long while ago and we intersected, stayed in touch, and she was in Chicago and I said, we have to do this interview in person. And we talk all about energy, how it impacts our business and our lives. Let's get started with this conversation now. Jackie, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move today. Thanks for being on the show.
It is so awesome to be here, and it's so great to finally meet you in person.
People, we are together in person live in Chicago, downtown Chicago. And how fun is this? Because we met virtually and now we're in person.
I know, it is so awesome. I just absolutely love it.
And today we are going to be talking about something that is so important that most people overlook. But before we get to that, can you give us a snapshot about what is bringing us to this moment, about your career and you're here today? What led us to this moment?
So there's many things that led us to this moment right now. It really starts with just your perception, your energy, your goals, your visions, and it all combines into one.
I love that. And I can't wait for us to explore this deeper because I think people don't ever pause and think about how is your energy projecting out in the world. I know that when I walk on stage, I'm always like doing the power pose and like getting the energy out. But we don't think about that when we're interacting with people every day. So let's talk about this and energy. Why is it so important and what should people be thinking about?
So before we get to that, let me ask you a question and think about this as an audience listening. Have you ever walked into a room and you felt something was really off? Or have you ever walked into a room and went, oh my gosh, I am with my tribe, and you can just feel it? Well, we're going to go a little deeper than that, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
I love that idea because it's true that sometimes you're in a room and you're like, what is the energy? Is that what we're talking about?
Absolutely, that's what we're talking about. And most people don't even pay attention to it. But when you have a thought of a client, a friend, a relative, and then all of a sudden, within usually 24 hours, they call, they text, they email, and you went, I was just thinking of you. That all has to do with energy.
So nothing happens by accident. Is that what you're telling me?
Nothing happens by accident. It is all of our energies having a conversation without using words.
Now, I bet people are listening and thinking, well, how can I have energy and unleash it into the universe or as I'm going to interact with people, whether it's family member, friends, or even in business? What are some things that you've learned? You're writing a book, right?
I'm writing a book. Yes, I am writing a book. It's not sold yet on the title, but it's about your energy arrives before you do. And I've, trained a lot of sales professionals and shared that with them that before you go visit a client, and some people, they like counting their commission before they even had a conversation, which is not good to do because your client feels that. They feel something is off. But when you are thinking about them and thinking, oh, how wonderful that person is and all that, they feel that as well. So it's all about, you might be portraying emotions within yourself, but we're all connected by energy. and that's what they're feeling.
One of our members in her C-suite, her name is Mylene, and she, every time when she comes on Zoom, she's got this bright smile. 6 in the morning, she lives on the West Coast, and we have our meetings kind of early. And she 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, doesn't matter. She always has this beautiful energy, and I think that's really sometimes people have a hard time doing that. But is there something that people can think about to harness what she does?
Absolutely. And it does take some, if you're not a morning person, I'm not a morning person. So I don't have that bubbly energy in the morning, but I work at it. What really helps is living in a state of gratitude and appreciation. When you live in those states of mind, your energy cannot dip. People can't make you feel any other way than you choose to feel. And when you start blaming other people for your emotions, it doesn't work. If you're pointing one finger at someone else, you have three pointing back at yourself. So, what is it that you need to change within yourself to raise that energy level up?
Yeah, sometimes on a day where if you do feel a dip, I always feel like, okay, I'm gonna do one thing for someone, not because I expect anything in return ever, but you do get this almost like adrenaline when
Yeah,
you do something, it's the random act of kindness, especially if it's to a stranger, it's even better because there is no chance for the boomerang. It just you're paying it forward. And I think that that's energy too, right?
absolutely. I love if you haven't watched the movie Pay It Forward, highly recommend it. But doing that in your day to day life, those unexpected, like you said, random acts of kindness, that is what's going to move the whole consciousness of the planet and raise the vibration to everybody around you. You can't have a bad day when you're living in a state of gratitude and helping others.
Which is why I think what we do is probably synergistic, not probably, it is synergistic because both of the things that we're doing is thinking of others and how can we change the light around us and in the world. And if people are feeling like I need to shift my energy, is there something that they can get grounded in to start with that? What do you suggest?
Oh, getting grounded, that is such a great, great question. So important to stay grounded. And it really is going outside, being a part of nature, going for walks outside. I actually just bought a grounding mat for for my husband and I. So just to help keep our vibrations in the right place. And it also helps with your body and how it feels. And there's so many benefits to grounding your energy. But it is so important just to be able to do something for others. And even if you can at that moment, think of things that you're so grateful for, whether it's families or friends, or hey, that you have fresh air to breathe. There's so many ways to feel grateful and filled with gratitude, and that all affects your energy and those around you in business.
Hey, it's Natalie. I wanted to pop in and invite you to join us on May 1st for a masterclass. If you've been trying to figure out which AI tools to use in your business, for boards, or wherever you are, I want to invite you on May 1st to join us for a masterclass. It's 30 minutes. Check out the show notes and let's get back to this interview now.
If you're thinking about going into a business meeting and you're walking through the door and you see the room and you talked about people can sense your energy, how do you shine back that energy into the room? If you can sense it when you walk in the room, sometimes you can feel maybe there's some team dynamics. We've all been there where you walk in and someone might have just said something or they're not all on the same page. What do you do to kind of elevate that energy when you walk in a room like that?
So I would say to gravitate towards the people that their energy level is up, that they are feeling joy, they're feeling happiness. Because if you have a lot of negative people, that's going to take over the room. And it's also making sure that your mindset is in the right place before you walk into that room. Like if you're the leader or the person that's in charge of that meeting and you have conflicts about what you're going to be presenting, the entire room is going to feel that conflict. You don't have to say it, you don't have to verbalize it, but they're going to feel that conflict. So it's really making sure before you start a meeting or before you meet with a group of people that you are all on the same page so the meeting can be productive and not destructive.
How about during a meeting? So you walk in and things are on course, but then there might be a dip in energy or time of day. I used to bring chocolate and espresso beans. If I had a meeting, a client presentation, I once did this. I had this really big presentation and it was like at 3 o'clock and we only had 45 minutes and we were pitching this big business. And I took all this chocolate and espresso beans. You know what? We lasted like 2.5 hours there because they were just popping the chocolate and they lost track of time. And luckily we did win the business. But is there something else that you could do other than give espresso beans to boost the mood? And if you're kind of observing, because sometimes you can feel that like everybody's up and then all of a sudden there's just that lull. What do you suggest people do?
Use your creativity for one. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. Maybe you heard that someone on the team had this bright idea about something. And when people are seen, heard, understood, and valued, they bring that energy level up. And that's from our, here come the girls. And what women do quite naturally is they want people to feel seen, heard, and understood. And when people feel valued, the energy just stays up by itself. And say that you do have a lull, though, maybe stop for a break and take time out of the day-to-day business stuff and just get to know each other. And that's what's so important to people. Everybody wants to feel valued in their day. So when they do, their energy raises. Or start talking about their family. Or there's so many different ways that you can do it, but it depends on the organization and the structure of the meeting as well.
Yeah, speaking of structure, I think it is harder when you're online on a Zoom call versus like in person in the room. There's always this great opportunity for energy. And if you are on a Zoom, which is awesome, that's how we met, which was virtual. So I don't knock it. But are there things that you can do with energy when you're virtual?
So that is facial expressions. I talk with my hands. Just be careful because there's sometimes you can talk with your hands and all of this stuff comes on Zoom calls that you don't expect. But it also raises the energy because it's like, why? Where did all those fireworks come from? So you introduced me to our friend Michelle, and we had a half-hour meeting that ended up 3 hours long because the energy was there. It was so exciting. And same with you and I. We went from strangers to BFFs, overnight. And a lot of that has to do with our energy and our expectations. And we just are encumbered by the positive energy that surrounds us.
Can you share a little bit, just a glimpse of what the book that you're working on now, just as a teaser, what can we expect to learn about this topic when your book comes out?
So one of the things that I would like is bringing this energy and the awareness of it into corporations. And what I mean is we talked a little bit about going into a meeting because there's so many times, like if you go into a meeting and you have a conflict in your head, there's going to be conflict in the meeting. Teaching people how important paying attention not only to their own energies, but to those people that they're surrounded by. Because when you understand someone else's energies and your own energies and how they intermingle, the sky's the limit as far as what you can do together, as far as collaborating and understanding. It just brings a whole new dimension to communication because, and I've been saying this for years, we were never taught to communicate. From the time we were in preschool to grad school, there was someone in the front of the class telling us what to do. And we could only speak when spoken to. And then you go through grad school or whatever grade you ended up with, and they went, go be great. But they didn't teach you how to have a back and forth communication. And they didn't teach you how to pay attention to other people's energies. And they didn't teach you how to pay attention to what's going on around you in the room. So too many people have blindfolds on. And I want to have a revealing conversation about what energy really does to our day-to-day lives, and we're not paying attention.
I think the first thing that people can do that are listening is just really notice the world around you. There's little signs. It could be something in nature. It could be something that is on a billboard with some words, whatever. What are some things that people should be thinking about as they're in their day-to-day just observing?
It's mindset. It's paying attention to your thoughts. What are you asking the world, the universe, God, however you want to recognize it? What are you asking for? And paying attention to the signs that come across your path. And what do they mean? Like, it's been well known that angel number is 1111, or just 3 ones in a row. And maybe you've asked for something and the license plate in front of you has 111, or you've asked for a certain thing, or you feel stressed about something. And then you see a billboard that says relax at, and it could be a hotel of some sort, but it's telling you your answer, what you need to do, and just to get back into your body and know that everything is going to be okay. So those are just some of the things.
So good. Jackie, if people want to know more about you and follow you and learn more about all the things you're doing, where should they go?
First of all, LinkedIn or donbarden.com. That's my business partner. And there's a page of me on there. And I'm just pretty easy to get a hold of.
I will have all of that in the show notes. And I'm so glad we get to meet in person and we did a live. Unusual, because usually it is not live, it's virtual. So, and a shout out to our friend Michelle Peacock, who is the reason that we're together today.
Yes. Woo-hoo.
So good. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you so much. And you are a blessing. I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I feel so energized after talking with my good friend Jackie Joy. She is incredible. It was so fun seeing her in person, and I hope you felt the energy in our conversation. Wherever you are in this journey, I want you to know that you matter, and especially all the listeners around the world. We appreciate you spending time with us. And as always, I would be so honored if you would rate and review the show. It's how other people find us. And if you want to join other women like the guests on this show, visit hercsuite.com and find out all about the different memberships we have that will go right along with you in your career. As always, keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.